thinking of starting a riding club.
Why? All those clubs do is sit around talking about motorcycles.
That's what we do.
They don't belong nowhere else, so they belong together.
But you're the man in charge.
I'm Johnny. We're the Vandals.
I'm Benny. I like you guys.
Your boyfriends are getting into trouble.
Shit.
What the hell were you thinking back there?
Nothing. I saw you squaring off with them guys. What do I need to think for?
Yeah, you and me, kid.
Johnny always loved Benny.
This is our family. Forever.
Hey!
Told you to take that jacket off.
You'd have to kill me to get this jacket off.
I don't want any trouble here.
Then I'll let you lead. What about the bar? Burn it down.
We gotta go.
Nah, we don't. They're scared of us. These young guys, they ain't gonna follow nobody except somebody who's gonna hold their own.
The club is changing. Running drugs, gambling.
Is that who we are now?
You can't have him, he's mine. If he keeps riding, he's gonna die one way or another.
I need you.
Some people would rather crash than slow down.
Ooh, boy, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to get a bike right now. I'm ready to get a bike. That is the film Bikeriders, The Bikeriders, that was written and directed by Jeff Nichols. And we have cast members from that film here with us today. And we're going to hit up a few different locations. Hi, I'm JR Martinez. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you once again and have the opportunity to just chat and just connect and learn about this film. So let's get right into it, because we have some incredible cast members from this film, the Bikeriders, that are with us today. So here we are on location. They are currently on a USO tour. You probably already know them from the moment that the camera just got turned on, but it's Austin, Butler, Jodie Comer, Norman Reedus, Jeff Nichols. And then we have a special guest that is not on camera and is about to be as soon as he clicks the button. Our man, you know him, Tom Hardy. How about that? Look at that introduction. Thank you guys all so much. Now, due to a production schedule change, Michael Shannon will no longer be able to join us. But of course, when we all go watch this film, we're going to be able to see his incredible performance. But first and foremost, thank every single one of you for being here with us today, taking time out of your busy schedule. I know the four of you are currently on a USO tour. Tom, in that dark space that you're in right now, it works, man. It works. We'll make it work. But before we get started and hit up the first location, I actually want to toss it over to Norman. Norman, you've actually done a USO tour before. Back, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was 2010. You went overseas. Talk to us about that experience on that USO tour then.
It was cool. It was very humbling. It was a real honor to go out there and meet all the soldiers, the men and the women. We were in Dubai, Djibouti, Bahrain. I went out there with the the Boondock Saints cruise, me and Sean Patrick Flannery, who he studies jujitsu. So he was constantly had a line of soldiers ready to get the actor. And he was out there in the heat, teaching stuff. It was really cool. It was like to sit with everyone and talk and learn about their experiences. It was awesome.
That's awesome. So you got that jiu-jitsu guy. Now you got Tom, another jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu everywhere. I'm assuming you guys know full-blown jiu-jitsu now, because on set, I'm sure Tom taught every single one of you, right? I'm sure. No taking it.
Tom's really impressive with it.
All right, cool guys. Well, let's get right into it. We're going to go to our first location. We are going to go to the USO Patriot Missile Site number 8 in United Arab Emirates. And we're going to, let's see when they pop up real quick. Let's see where they're at. Let's see. You know, there's always that lovely delay. Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
So feel free to introduce yourself and then obviously, you know, just ask your question and, you know, take it from there.
So I'm First Lieutenant Tebow. I'm the tactical control officer here on our site today. In charge of all the site operations, along with some of my team members here behind me. We're from 552 Air Defense Artillery Battalion out of Fort Bliss, Texas. We recently just deployed here not too long ago. We're starting to settle in, get our group of things over here. We just took over this site from one of our fellow battalions at Fort Bliss that we train with, that we're pretty familiar with. So we saw some friends that we've been missing for the past 9 months, which was pretty cool. But just our day-to-day here, what our jobs is, we monitor the airspace at Al Dhafar Air Base, overlooking the air picture, making sure that there's nothing flying around in the sky that we don't want to be flying around up there. And if we identify something that is, we call up to our higher echelon units. And then from there, if we get the go ahead, we have the capabilities, and we'll make sure that we shoot down everyone on base is safe and ready to go. So I think some of my team members here got a few questions for you guys, so I'll turn it over to them.
Thank you.
Sure.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much.
That's awesome.
A question for Mr. Austin. If you could have any job in the military, what would it be?
I don't know. We were just on that Black Hawk flying in here, and it was an addictive feeling. I can't imagine getting to do that all the time. Yeah, something to do with the Black Hawk helicopter. I think probably not.
Plus the helmets are cool.
Plus the helmets are awesome. Yeah.
That is awesome.
I had a question for Tom Hardy, actually. Do you do your own stunts?
No. No.
My question's for Mr. Northern Reedus. What was your favorite part about shooting the movie? Like, of all your scenes?
Oh, the bikes were my favorite. I had kind of a weird outfit on during this thing. I went to Ohio with these fake teeth, and I was like going to Starbucks and Target and trying to talk to people, and it was coming up like, but I think working with Jeff and the cast, it's a really cool. I haven't done films in a bit. I've been on this television show forever, so it was nice to be on a film set and watch everybody work and get to work with Jeff. Yeah, it was really cool. And the bikes. And the bikes.
and the bikes. No, I mean, what's cool, man, is Austin, when he asked you the question as far as like any job in the military, I think that's what's so cool about the military is that, when that lieutenant described what they're doing on site, and, you don't really think about that stuff, man. You don't really think about these guys are coming from Fort Bliss, Texas, and it's midnight there, or it's almost midnight. What time is it right now?
It is 11:52, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So see, they got all the young guys that could stay up to close to midnight to do this. They're the young guys that do it. And then he also, he's a young guy because he called me sir. Like, come on. But it's incredible, man, what you guys are doing, over there and how you're protecting us from afar. And, it's just, I think that's what's so cool about the military when you think about any organization, and a film is no different, right? The entertainment industry is no different. Everybody has a role, everybody has a job, and you own that and you settle into it and you do it at the best of your ability. And then at the conclusion of that, you eliminate threats, but then you also put out a great project like you guys are putting out right now on June 21st, the Bikeriders. So there's a lot of really cool similarities. But people don't really think about that because they think of like their world is so different than ours. But there's a lot of intersectionality in between both of the worlds. So I think it's just incredible what you guys are doing, man, especially because you guys all look like, at least the three of you right there, you look like you're 16 years old, straight up. Like you look like, like when did you guys get out of high school?
2017.
2019.
No, those are all lies. Those are all lies. Those are all lies. I don't believe any of that. But Tom, I noticed when they asked you if you did your own stunts, you said no immediately. But if it seemed like you wanted to add something to that.
No, no, I think it's better not to lie about stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's better to be. Nobody's gonna ask me to do something that means that I won't be able to film tomorrow, and they can make money out of me.
That's it, man. That's it. That is awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. I mean, it's great to have you guys, in uniform and willing to actually put on that uniform and deploy and be away from the things you love the most. And so we just incredibly grateful and appreciative for you guys and being over there. And hopefully you guys get to go to bed right now. Is that where you're going?
Back to work.
Yeah, we're going back to work.
Back to work. So your shift just started. Is that what happened?
We
work 24/7.
probably 18 hours in right now.
He said 24/7. He said 24/7, sir. He's like, just so you know, JR, we are always awake. We're always awake. Like, I like it. Well, thank you guys so much for participating. Thank you for your questions. And of course, thank you guys so much for your service. We're going to go to our next location, which is going to be in California. We're going to go to Edwards Air Force Base. As you guys see, this stuff goes pretty quickly, but feel free if you guys want to, elaborate on any of these questions, feel free to take it. But Edwards Air Force Base, what's up, guys?
Yo.
Hey.
Hi there, I'm Captain again from the Port Support Squadron, and we're so excited to welcome you guys to the center of the aerospace testing universe here in Southern California, right down the street, probably where you guys are at all the time. So I'm just going to hand it over to our airmen who are going to ask you some questions.
I would love to go first. So my question, it goes as follows. We can't be actors because we have to have no call. But here's the question. Number one, to Jodie. By the way, Jodie, looking fantastic. It's the character of the film, The Bikeriders.
Sorry, can you say that again? The sound's quite low.
Oh, it's okay. It's coming in a little country. What helped you prepare to get into character for this film?
What helped me prepare? Well, I feel like the really unique and amazing thing about the Bikeriders is that it's actually based on a book of photographs by a photographer called Danny Lyons. So, initially I was sent the amazing script, which Jeff here wrote, and then kind of got familiar with Danny's work and looked at the images. And some of us were quite fortunate that we actually had real audio of the real people, so we could kind of hear what their accents were, kind of really hear and decipher how they truly felt about certain things that they spoke about. And then I think a big thing for me was Kathy had a very distinct voice. So a lot of my prep was trying my hardest to try and emulate that, really. And she talks a lot. She loves the sound of her own voice. So there was a lot of lines to learn. So yeah, I would say that.
Well, and I'll give Jodie a compliment. She deserves a lot of compliments, but I'd been listening to this audio for a decade, of the real person from 1965. And Jodie, right before we started filming, she sent me a quick time, audio clip of her voice work, and I could barely distinguish the two. If I was able to play it for you right now, her voice versus the real woman, they're almost identical. And she's not from the Midwest, as you can tell. It's incredible work that she did.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I'm sure my guy, Mr. Country, where are you from?
But North Carolina.
Hold on. You know what we'll do is, because the microphone is so far away, so we'll ask each person for a question, when they're going to ask a question, come up to the mic as much as you can. So we didn't get a chance to hear where you're from.
North Carolina. Yo.
I'm from North Carolina.
Awesome.
So not the East Coast.
Yeah. Where in North Carolina? Where in North Carolina are we talking about? Because you definitely country.
Are you here?
No, I'm not. I'm not from there. No, but I, a little south from where you are right now is where I grew up. But I mean, I don't have the same accent you do, my man. I admire your accent. I wish I had that accent. Every joke, everything you say, everything that comes out of your mouth just kind of hits differently.
Don't make me blush.
All right. Well, thank you, my man. All right. So we're gonna go to the next question. And if you don't mind, please coming up to the microphone and asking your question.
Good afternoon. My question is for Tom. Why do you think this movie will resonate with the military community?
Why do I think it will resonate with the military community? You know, I don't know if it's built to resonate with like the military community in that aspect. I think it's just a really, really good film. And I don't, does anybody like bikes, like motorbikes at all in the room? All right, 1, 2, 3, 4 country. Okay. Yeah, well, there's a lot of bikes. So that's cool. Like if you like riding, then it's a good movie for that because it starts way back when before, I suppose, biker gangs became a thing, which is very different to what it was back in the day. I think there's an element of community that you find amongst the biker community, which is really specific, where you have individuals who are brought together by I don't know, there's a certain energetic inner gimbal about somebody who wants to get out and about on their own and go and explore and be curious and prepare to weather the elements and roll their sleeves up and feel the wind in their face on a vehicle. And those who hide behind the wheel of a car, you know, there's nothing wrong with either. They're two very legitimate forms of transport, but there's something very specific about that community. And the way that people connect within that community, which is different, and I suppose a little less. It's a little closer connected with the earth and the elements and the world around you. It's also, I think there's a certain bond, or if I was trying to be slightly more less cryptic, there's a certain bond within the group of motorcycle riders, which is quite similar to other closed communities, which civilians don't necessarily get access to, that might find some familiarity there in that understanding. But apart from that, it's just a really, really good film. I think if you like films, you're going to enjoy it because it's got a range of different things going on in it, which will nourish you if you like films. So I think it's just a good movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Tom, when she asked that question, which thank you for that question. But when she asked that question, that was the first thing as someone who served in the military. I mean, that was the thing that I immediately identified with when just watching the trailer. And I know a lot of this site was able to watch the film last week, if I'm not mistaken. If not everybody, some of you have. But I'm for me, when I watched it, just watching the trailer, I mean, that's what I took away from it. I was like this sense of like community and how, you know, when you're watching Austin's character and he's like, man, he's like, you're gonna have to kill me if you want me to take this off, right? And I think that's when you think of like the military community, that's no matter how, if you do, you know, a year or whether you do 20 years in the military, I think that's the challenge is when you get out of the military, transition out, it's like we still have that uniform on our body. It's still in our soul. It's not just surface. It's actually integrated into who we are, and that's our identity. And so when you get out of the military, you're then trying to find that identity of community. So to me, that's what I immediately identify with, Tom. So I can echo what you just said as well. So thank you so much for that question. We'd like to toss it over to the next person that has a question. Please step up to the mic and introduce yourself. I don't think I said that. I don't think I.
Yeah, what's your name?
Like, hey, introduce yourself. What's your name? Where are you from? You know, we're giving country all the love in North Carolina. Where you from? You know.
My name is Logan Wilson. I'm from Oviedo, Florida.
Okay.
Hey.
Hey.
My question's for Austin. It's did you take motorcycle classes for the role in the movie?
Did I take motorcycle classes for the role?
Yeah.
I had ridden a bit beforehand, but I then trained a lot because I knew that we were going to be riding without helmets and riding on bikes from the 60s. And one thing that I learned first was that those bikes don't like to stop. So the brakes and the clutch and everything, it doesn't work like a new bike. And so you had to train all the more. And I knew there was going to be moments with having Jodie on the back, so I trained a lot. But that was, I mean, I look back at some of those moments of us all riding together. Like Tom, I remember looking over at you that one moment where we're riding in the pack, and just the feeling, it was so incredible.
It was.
That was
But it's
special.
also terrifying, man, because the brakes on those are like pumping a commode to try and get and they don't work. So you know that, like, yeah, and anything that you want to find, if you want parts for your Harley, you got to look on the road for where they fell off.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Is that where that line at the end of that trailer comes in, where it's like some people prefer to crash than they actually slow down? It's because you probably can't slow down. Like, so you might as well just go for it.
Yeah.
All right. So well, thank you guys, Location, for those questions. We have another question that came in from the registration. It's from Alicia. Is it Runick? I believe it is, from Fort Indiana Town, Pennsylvania. So this is for whoever chooses to answer this question. Who has been the most impactful person in your life for your career?
I'll go first. I don't, it's got to be my parents. I grew up in Little Rock, Arkansas, and my dad owned a furniture store there. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, but I did not grow up in a household where anyone ever said, "Well, what's your real job going to be?" They supported this idea of me being a writer, me making films from the very beginning, and I was a pretty good kid. I think had someone come to me and said, "All right, you need to put your feet on the ground and you need to go out and get a regular job," I think I probably would have, and I wouldn't be sitting here with you all and with these incredible people, having this conversation, this incredible experience. So it was really my parents' just almost blind support of this crazy idea that I could go make movies, and I actually say that without laughing. So almost.
That's cool.
Well, I didn't want to take, if anybody else wants to chime in, feel free. If not, then we can head to the next location. No takers?
I would just agree. I would mirror that. I think there's a lot to be said for being supported in what you want to do at a really young age, and I think as well, especially with arts, like a lot of the time people can think, oh, it's not a real job, or to do something more academic, maybe something more impactful, but I think art can be very impactful. So I would just mirror what Jeff said, in a sense of like telling them that that's what I wanted to do, and they were like, okay, well, you better give it all you've got, and we'll be here.
Absolutely.
That's incredible. It's like we underestimate at times how important it is to have somebody just say, you know what, just go for it, man. Let's go.
Yeah.
We're in your corner. And it's so important to be able to have that, because that's where the creative element is born, and that's where it sort of just is nourished, right? Little Rock, Arkansas. How about that, man? You know a place called Hope, Arkansas?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So I grew up there, man. I grew up there. So yeah. So all right. So we could talk offline about Arkansas and kind of do that whole thing. But we're gonna go to our next live location. We're gonna go all the way to Germany, USO Camp Aachen. What's up, guys? How you doing?
Hello.
Hi. Yeah, I love this energy.
Hello, guys. You're so excited to be here. My name's Shannon, and we're in Camp Aachen in Grafenwehr, Germany. The Grafenwehr training area is the largest and the most sophisticated training base in all of Europe. We support the United States, our NATO partners, and other partner multinational nations through live fire training exercises, through air support, through tank training, and we prepare them to deploy all over the world to help keep us safe. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to everyone else here who has some great questions for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey guys, can you guys hear me all right?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right. My name is John Baeza. I have a question for Norman. As a motorcycle enthusiast, what did it mean for you to be a part of this film? And what did you love most about the bike riding culture?
I've been riding for a long time. I first started out on a YZ80, little dirt bike. I used to run from police, hide in the car, kill the engine, and do all that. That's kind of how I learned. But my first group of friends were through that bike. My first like real group of friends. But when I met Jeff at Cannes, he mentioned the film. At first, I'm like just BSing, like blah 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 blah. And then he goes, "Oh, I did this." I'm like, "You directed Mud? Why didn't you tell me you directed Mud?" And then and he mentioned the film, and he said, "Oh, do you know the photography book?" And I go, "Not only that, I have signed copies and have like 4 prints at my house because I'm big into photography as well. I have the actual photograph of you going over the bridge." Yeah.
That's amazing.
But you know, I have a travel show where I travel out on motorcycles. I always have found a sense of community with people that ride bikes. You know, I find that everywhere I go around the world, those people that ride bikes are pretty much the same people. You know, if I break down on the side of the road, it's going to be a motorcycle that pulls over and helps me. So yeah, being part of a motorcycle film based on those photographs that I have hanging on my wall, it's pretty cool. I have to say.
Oh, that's awesome.
Anytime you kind of want to come ride, you can come right over here.
I'd love to. You know, I haven't done Germany yet on my show, but I'd love to. Absolutely.
Let me know. I'll be there.
I'll find you. I'll find you.
I want a photo of both of those guys riding side by side in their hair, just like all.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Bring it into fruition.
All right, what's the next question?
Hi, I'm Dan. That question for Tom. So we hadn't had an opportunity to watch the movie here yet. The question is, what is something you would want us to know before we watch it?
Say that again. What do you want? What do I want you to know about it before you watch it?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, do you know what? I'm one of those people that don't want to tell you anything before you watch it because it's that's part of the job I do as well, is not to tell anybody anything about what we're doing. So it sort of spoils it for you. Imagine you're going to watch a musical, okay? Prepare yourself for a movie with Ryan Gosling. Do you know what I mean? And maybe some puppets, and then see what you can come up with. Because it's not that. It'll be something other, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's got some bikes in it as well.
Wow.
I don't think that's a spoiler because that's in the title. But honestly, I think I don't. If there's a sort of, and I'm not trying to be foolish, if there's a deeper reason to what you would like me to say, is there a message that I have inside there, or is there something that I'd like you to focus on regards and any morality or an ethical framework or something that I'm trying to impose or influence an audience with? I don't have one. I don't have any deeper message or meaning to my work. I'm literally a face puller. Do you know what I mean? I just do what I'm told, and then I leave. I enjoy my time there. So I want you to know that I had a great time shooting it, and that everybody that I worked with, they're awesome. We had a lot of fun, and I'm really proud of the film. So I stand by it, and I think it's awesome. I hope you enjoy it.
Awesome. The best answer I could hope for.
Tricky question, though. Thanks.
All right, last question at this location.
Hello, my name is Tora, and my question is for Austin. This is clearly not your first time acting in a historical piece. What attracts you to the non-modern roles?
To non-modern roles,
corsets.
Corsets.
Nice.
Yeah, the hairstyles, and I hadn't really thought about that. I think it's this one just came about and I thought it sounded like a really great film, and I loved the script that Jeff wrote, and the idea of getting to bring this to life. I really wanted to be a part of it, and then as everybody came together, and I knew Jodie and Tom and Norman were going to be a part of it. It just felt so right, But so I don't think it's preconceived, but I love those. I love this time period of film. I love the quality of cars at that time and motorcycles and and yeah, just the texture of it. I think I'm really a fan of.
So that's what is it? I forgot the word now. That's it. What's the word? Aesthetic. I was like, I can't get out.
Yeah, the aesthetics
Aesthetically very
Yeah,
pleasing.
it's an aesthetically pleasing time for sure. And the music is great at that time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
corporate.
was it Shannon? It was Shannon?
Yeah.
Yeah, Shannon. Well, thank you so much for that great introduction and just giving us an insight into what you guys do there and how you support, all the different, countries and people. And so just thank you for that. And thank you guys so much for participating in this and asking those 3 great questions. Take care. And we're now going to go to our next live location, which is now we're going to come back to the States. We're going to go to Missouri to Fort Leonard Wood.
Hi.
Hey.
Thank you for having us. I'm Kelly Brownfield, Center Manager for the Fort Leonard Wood USO. I'm going to hand you over to the Marines.
Go right. Hey guys. Hello.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sasson Calderon. I'm reaching out to you from Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, home of the Marine of the Ozarks. Here in Fort Leonard Wood, we have the largest Marine detachment outside of a Marine Corps installation, where we train an eighth of the Marine Corps itself. Here we train 5,500 Marines annually from water transportation, engineers, seaburn, and military police. With that being said, I'm going to turn over to the first question.
See, I got my first question for Jodie. With Kathy's accent, where's the backstory to this main character? What is the detail behind her origin? She starts off as a figure that just doesn't fit in, but by the end of the movie, she fits into the whole story like she belonged from the beginning, which made for a great storyline throughout the whole movie. That's the rest of it.
Thank you. Yeah, well, what we knew about Kathy was that she was from North Chicago, but it was kind of interesting because I was fortunate enough to have like 30 minutes of audio of her being interviewed by Danny Lyons, who actually took the photographs which the film is based on. And her accent wasn't like a very generic Chicago. It was like every vowel sound was a contradiction in itself. So I kind of worked with a voice coach a lot on trying to kind of emulate that as truthfully as possible, because it was a huge element, I feel like, what made her really interesting and actually a really great storyteller. But yeah, it's funny, like when she first meets Benny, she has 3 kids. She lives quite a humble, mundane life, and walks into this bar and meets this beautiful man who is a mystery and isn't tethered to anything and is incredibly free, and she's so enticed by that and falls in love with it. And I think it brings a real element of excitement into her life, and she gets wrapped up in that world. And but I think the thing that she initially falls in love with is also then the thing that she kind of wants to remove him from. But yeah, I can only imagine, I was just trying to think of what that would feel like to live the life that she did, and then kind of meet this group of men who are so enigmatic and mysterious and bold. And so yeah, I hope that answered your question.
No, that was great.
Beautiful dog, but that's a huge dog.
Yeah, that's is that Apache?
Wow.
A USO K9 volunteer?
Yes, weighs in, last official weigh-in, about 240 pounds. The scale does not fit him anymore. But yeah, he gets to hang out here at the USO with our service members, so he loves every minute of it.
Oh wow, that is awesome.
Great dog.
There's more than me.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
That's combined.
I,
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, bud, what's your name? My name is PFC Mason. I'm from Paris, Missouri, which is 3 hours up north from right here, actually.
Okay. So you're one of those guys that joined the military to travel the world, and then you just went up the street.
I had a question for Jeff.
what was the most challenging aspect of the production, and how were those challenges overcome? Did the use of older bikes to film the movie produce a maintenance challenge?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest prima donnas on this movie were not the actors, it was the bikes, like the motorcycles. They didn't like it when it was wet or dry or hot or cold. They didn't like it ever. They were just always difficult to start. There was one bike in particular, when we started it, it would just catch on fire. And the guy was like, yeah, that's just how that one works. We had three mechanics. We had three mechanics on our crew the whole time, and these guys were phenomenal at we had
Melbourne. Wasn't Melbourne a Marine?
Oh, yeah, Milburn was.
Yeah, our motorcycle guru was a guy named Jeff Milburn out of Dallas. And he's a stunt man. He raced cars in Ford versus Ferrari. If you ever need anybody to do a motorcycle stunt, you would call Jeff Milburn. But out of Dallas, he owns about 13 of the period bikes. And then he got together with some friends, and we carried on production. We carried 32 period correct bikes. They had to be put in special trailers to keep warm at night. And these mechanics kept them running. It was a kind of a miracle, to be honest. And, as a director, my job in part is to protect these people. And the most terrifying, part of this shoot was sending these people out without helmets to ride at speed on some bikes that are over 60 years old, that don't have disc brakes. They don't have snapback throttles. I don't think it was until the early 70s that they actually formatted bikes and said that, the throttle has to be here and the brake has to be here. So all these bikes were set up differently. And the fact that these guys could get on them, train with them, and feel comfortable riding with them was it was a minor miracle. The fact that the insurance companies actually let us do it was a minor miracle. But it was obviously a necessary part of the film, but it was by far the most complicated part.
Wow.
It paid off.
But it paid off. We got it in the movie.
I think a previous location asked a question as far as like what to expect. They hadn't seen it yet, and like what to expect going into watching it. I think that's a really cool piece of information, because now you almost appreciate the actors being on these bikes and doing what they're doing. So yeah, thank you for that. That's great detail. How you doing, man? What's your name and where you from, and what's your question?
Hi, I'm good, sir. How are you? My name's Lance Corporal Stroop. I'm from Ohio, so basically nowhere.
That's why we made the film.
We shot it in Ohio.
We shot it in Cincinnati.
Shot in Ohio.
There you go. Well, I'm interesting. I have a question for Tom. When you're out on set, how do you stay connected with your family? Because it's a pretty long drive for you, I assume.
Dude, that's a big one. Does that bother you?
Sir?
Do you find
does that bother you?
A little bit, sometimes, yes.
Yeah. Like, you spend a lot of time on Skype, if you can. You miss the hours. You have to find some kind of routine. I'm not talking about you. Actually, let me say, for me, I've been on the road since I was 19. I have 3 children. I've been through a lot on that. But it's in all honesty, I think when you connect, you have to make the most of that connection point to keep it going whilst you're away. And then there's another part of me that needs to be away in order to miss home. And there's a part of me when I'm home that misses being away. And so balancing the two things, or integrating those two parts of myself, as I'm both equally somebody who likes to be curious and explore and be out there and find out all kinds of things that don't necessarily, actually directly conflict the nest or home life. They're not the same. The Tom that's on the road is not necessarily the same as the Tom by the bedside manner Tom. Tom that goes out there and does whatever he has to do, even though I pull faces for a living, which isn't very serious. It's not the same as the Tom that like is compassionate and kind and holds his children. You understand? And those two equal parts integrate over time. And sometimes you have to keep going away in order to make sure home's okay. How do I keep my inner gimbals like resilient in the face of like being away when I don't want to be away? I have to find different coping mechanisms that work that aren't that are sustainable over long periods of time. Because it's really important that, you know, no matter where you go, your home is where you are. And I think the longer I do this, the hardest thing is realizing that I'm my home. And no matter whether I'm home or I'm away, I have to be sure within myself that I'm sure of that. And I'm not sure I've really got hold of that yet. So that's a work in progress for you. And that's an answer which is absolutely direct. It ain't easy, but nothing worth having is. So good luck with that. And I feel you.
Man, I mean, thank you for that, Tom, for going to that place. I think I saw every single one of those Marines back there all of a sudden be like, "Hey, man, you crying? Because I'm about to cry. I'm like, you
Oh
crying?
no.
I'm crying." Like, you know, and I just love that. And I think as men, and not to exclude Jody here, but as men, this is something we gotta, you know, be open to doing and being okay and knowing that we got each other's back and being honest and being vulnerable and knowing that we can all just show love for one another and show up. So Fort Leonard Wood, thank you guys so much. To that staff sergeant at the top that did the introduction, I want to say, if you ever need a Marine, you know, you need somebody, you know, call me. I'll come serve for you, Sarge. Like, I'll do anything. That briefing, you had me all pumped up and everything. I just want my biceps to look like yours, though. Okay, so whatever I got to do for my biceps to look like yours, I got to roll it up. You know, whatever I got to do, Sarge. All right.
You just got to do about 100 burpees and you'll be all right.
All right, cool. Can I spread those out over the course of a week? Because if we could do that, then I got you.
No. Well, last, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for your time. I appreciate all the support. And lastly, God bless.
Ah, those Marines, man. Those Marines. Take care, guys. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Kelly. All right. So, guys, that's all the locations we have. Before, as we start to wind this thing down, Jeff, want to, you know, turn it over to you and just kind of leave you with the opportunity to kind of, what do you hope that the audience takes away from the film that when they actually see it in theaters?
You know, for me, this film is a lot about nostalgia, which is it's a strange term, you know, to define it. And to me, what that really means is that in a very specific moment, at a very specific time, you can really connect to a place and a group of people. And it is possible over time for that to disappear, for that to go away. And whatever that feeling is that you're left with when that thing disappears, to me, that's what nostalgia is. And that's what this film is about. This film is about a moment in time that's gone. But it was beautiful for the time that it was there. And I think that's what I'd like people thinking about.
Thank you for that. Well, before we let you guys go and ask you for a message of support to our service members, obviously we had those locations that we were able to tap into, but we had a lot of other locations that were watching us. So I'm just going to list those real quick. So we had Colorado, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Florida, Georgia, California, Virginia, North Carolina, New York, South Carolina, Ohio, Missouri, Texas, United Arab Emirates, Kentucky, Wisconsin, Illinois, North Dakota, Maryland, Washington, D.C., Idaho, Alabama, Mississippi, UK, New Mexico, Germany, Nevada, the USS Harry Truman, Italy, and Washington. So we had a lot of people tuning in for this. So just thank you guys so much. And Tom, we would ask on behalf of everybody here today, on behalf of the entire cast, the entire film, just extend a message of support to all the service members.
Okay, just on behalf of all the crew and the cast and the bike riders and actually everybody that I know, to be honest, I can't thank you enough from the bottom of my heart for the service that you give, not just my country but your own and all our allies on a day-to-day basis. I cannot express the gratitude deep enough for the thanks I have to offer you. Thank you for your service. And I hope you enjoy the film. but more so over, I wish you the very best in your entire careers and in your lives. And thank you very much for your service.
Thank you so much for that, Tom. Jeff, great job, my man, putting this whole thing together and putting this amazing group of people together. Jodie, Austin, Norman, Tom, can't thank you guys enough for taking time out of your busy schedules to, chat with us and to connect with the service members all over the world, as we saw clearly today. Wish you guys the absolute best. Best of luck, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of your tour, guys. And just best of luck in everything you guys do from this point on. But just thank you guys for taking a little bit of time out of your lives to be able to share it with the military community. All right. Take care, everyone.